strike. And I'm like, well, if all the kids could get access to their instruments, could we organize it on their own? There's already been somebody supposedly offer up somewhere for them to practice. So if the kids really want to make follies happen, practice, delay it by a couple of weeks, see if you can get Palatine Park to do it. Do it for free. Screw it. School's not in anyways. What do you need the money for?
How long do you think
Charlie,
this will go
I'm not
on?
saying to have Bean practice. I'm saying if you kids really want to practice, why do you need Bean to start with?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you get your instruments and get together and, I mean, just to do something, even if you do your show for the halftime show, just to do a performance, just to show that you're not going to let our dumbass senators keep you guys down.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're being flooded with calls about numerous things. You know, there's lots of stuff going on in and outward within our state. That's what I've been following, that little town, Minden, West Virginia, where they were poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. It's sad.
I've heard about it, but I don't know a lot about it.
No, so many. The PCP, I think, is the chemical. Don't quote me on that.
PCP is a drug.
PCP is a drug, isn't it?
It's a drug,
It is, but it's something along the lines of that.
Like an Aaron Brockovich type thing.
Yes, and like this Flint, Michigan, except for this has been going on since the 80s, and they were supposed to have been responsible for cleanup, and they didn't, and now some of it was buried or something, whatever. But all this flooding and storms has kind of made it, and there's been so much cancer from like little tiny kids. I mean, like the whole damn town over, and I swear, it's ridiculous. So that made me lead to looking at little sectors in the United States of clusters of like brain cancers and shit in little kids, and it is all little clusters. It isn't like there's brain spread across, like, you know, on average.
Right.
It's like little pockets, little clusters of...
Like little towns.
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary because you trust them to tell you, dude. And that's part of the compensation. Our state has to pay those people all the time. And the companies get out.
They ain't gonna tell you that shit.
Yeah, that should be tapping into the fucking health cares. They should be.
Yeah, because it is healthcare.
And they're pissed with all the cuts that we just rolled with from the federal government that didn't apply to anyone, really, except for outsiders who live here, who own that shit, who maybe vacation. And even the workers. And then I was thinking about what kind of... Because, you know, I was a little iffy about... teed off about that brochures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If we really wanted to hit statistics and you really wanted to change the infrastructure inside your city, wouldn't you make sure that your residents were educated enough to hold the jobs instead of enticing outsiders to come and live within your city?
Which is why the teachers are fighting so hard for everything that they're fighting for. I've even seen people say, okay, get your pay raises, get your health care fixed, and let's fight for a better curriculum next.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if...
What about the West test, dude?
They're supposed to be doing away with that.
This year? Because our kids are going to have shit scores.
I saw people from Charleston commenting, Facebook, whatever. We did away with that. But then I've seen people saying that they were teachers saying, well, if you did away with it, how come my school still doesn't?
Yeah, because the Common Core, I made that argument, and some girl told me, we don't do that anymore. Well, I homeschool Reese, so when I printed that shit off, the only choices I had to follow was the standard Common Core. So, what the hell? And that was from the West Virginia Education Department.
They're not all on the same page. When Charlie went to summer school, she come home after the first couple of days and said, Mom, I don't know none of this. We didn't learn any of this.
That's because...
And she got to talking to him, and they said, well, our summer school curriculum is not updated to match the regular school curriculum. So she failed summer school. I mean, granted, she took the last week off because of church camp. But she didn't understand what she was doing. She'd never seen it before.
I was going to tell you, when I got to choose, okay, the way ours is set up is there's like, you know how when you got to high school, you got college prep?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that shit starts in preschool. There's like standard occupational classes, and then there's the college readiness and career readiness option for your kid, determined by them and what structures these kids are going to take, right? So, like, if your kid, let's say they're a little immature, they're bad, don't want to pay attention, they're automatically going to shift them into that standard
The
shit.
other one.
Which is basically the same fundamentals, but none of the extra critical thinking bullshit, none of the fun shit, and I think that's how they're all getting all these little kids who are not bad, but just a little different. Some of them are some badass kids, but all clumped together with one teacher, and we don't have enough. Yeah, so if they're already choosing that for you from preschool, they don't even know what the fuck you're going to be like at all. Nobody is the same in preschool than second grade.
Kids are advanced and really need to
be
in
that college in the extra
got Charlie
one.
tested because she got her work done.
Right,
and
the
we get up,
only
walk around
way.
the classroom and shit. Help
Didn't
other
you
kids
say?
with their work.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Reese does. Except
Yeah.
for he'll flip light switches, or tap, or because they get mad at him because he finishes his work like that.
Well, then they should give him something else to do.
Well, instead of just sitting there quietly like they want you to do, he can't.
I wish he was at East.
And he's not ADD
Miss Beckman
or
would have him
ADHD. They say oppositional defiant.
He's not. If he doesn't act like that at home, he's not oppositional
That's
defiant.
what I
Oppositional
said.
dish.
We have never met School Reese. We were just joking about this. No one ever on the planet has met
We
School
talked about this
Reese.
the other
I
day.
know. It's so funny and hilarious. And that's why I would choose. And I think after this teacher strike, I wonder how many, because I am actually very fucking uptight about education. That's where me and my stepson butt heads.
Right.
Because I know in a shit-ass place like this, you have to be educated. I don't care how you educate yourself. You want to fucking read a book, fucking read it. Because that's how you're going to get ahead. Knowledge is power. The cat is running amok.
My cat's always running amok. At least the little yellow one isn't
Yeah.
walking around trying to fuck everything.
And when I learned all that stuff, how they've divided down and broke everybody up to be a statistic, and be and that's where they fucked up in our state budget too, was they beefed up the DHHR for some reason.
Oh, DHHR shit's on the agenda for the Senate Finance.
It's
and
weird.
The
They're
teachers' raise is the
research.
very last thing.
I know. And they said it's for research. There's a lot of research people that just came in. They're getting ready to do something to us, dude.
No. I wonder if law that's medical marijuana, because the
I
board
hope.
for medical marijuana has asked for committees for research and stuff.
I hope so.
And I think that's through DHHR.
If these teachers were smart, they would get behind that cannabis
a
act.
lot of them are. They just,
Well,
I
great.
think people are afraid to speak out because
Well,
it's illegal.
they need to stop. And that's what a lot of my peers and my boyfriend is like. Like a lot of it is because there's such a demonized fucking stigmas and it's trigger words. Rabbit weed. Then our grandma used to call it rabbit weed or something. Wacky tobacco.
Devil's lettuce.
And the
Reefer
devil's
madness.
lettuce. I know. Reefer madness is so insane. That guy with the buggy eyes.
I still ain't finished
He looks
walking.
like
I watched,
fucking.
the first 45
He
minutes of it.
looks like the same guy that played the black and white. He was the. Who was that guy?
Roger Rabbit.
No.
On that one.
I can't believe I forget its name. The killer back in London that killed all the prostitutes. Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, he does.
Didn't he? The way his eyes were, the eyebrows were so thick, like how they depicted the Ripper. Yeah.
Yes.
It is insane. And they do that with everything. And alcohol, because you know what I also learned reading through that? At that time, they were bringing in all the Chinamen and the people that do the railroads, and they also brought weed with them, the Mexicans and stuff.
That's how it got brought in.
Right, so they were trying to get rid of them once they didn't need their labor anymore, so they attached weed to them.
The immigrants brought the devil's lettuce is what they said.
Yeah, so that's like insane. Yeah,
I did a
because I didn't
report on the
believe that
cannabis
movie.
culture.
Yeah, I was like, this is insane. How kind of propaganda is this? And the world doesn't believe they trick us. And when
I know.
come on, you just want to be tricked. Matt was like, I don't want to not eat the steak. Can I just eat the steak and live? I was like, no, baby, it's fake steak. It's fake. It's not real. We need real steak. God, because that's the truth. That's what it comes down to. It is. I don't think that they're dumb. Like the masses are dumb. The masses are sheep. They're not awake. No, bitch. They don't want to be awake.
In their lifestyle.
Can you
Even
just
if
let
it's
them
a poor
be?
one.
They see the chemtrails. No one not sees them.
You get you have
Okay,
to see,
you see it. Don't
even
tell
if
me
you don't know what it is, you still see it.
you're
And be like, why
that
is that cloud just
what
a
the
straight
fuck is
fucking
wrong
line?
with these
Why is
people?
there a grid in the sky?
And you think, am I breathing that? Like, come on now. Just like when the dust flies up in your car and you're like, I just cleaned this bitch.
Right.
Gosh darn. Like, why is it still here? Yeah. Same concept. You know you see it. Anyway.
I guess there was hundreds of students in Charleston yesterday, too.
Yeah, I seen that circling around. Someone tagged me in that.
I did. The walls of Jericho.
Yeah, Jericho.
And it's funny because if you do the math, if you count school days, not the weekend, yesterday was the 7th school day. And the Bible story with Joshua and the walls of Jericho, Joshua and his army walk around Jericho for 6 days, which would be the teachers marching in Charleston. And then on the 7th day, the priests sound the trumpet, which would be the students showing up in support. Charlie's over there looking at me like, Mom, you're crazy.
That's one of my favorite stories in the Bible.
That's not a Mom, you're crazy look?
No.
What
It's
kind of look
exciting,
is
isn't it?
That's a mom. That's kind of,
Out there?
I don't know.
Are you happy with that comment? Or
You sound like the end of the world
guy. Surprised? Or what is that? I mean,
I don't know.
am I giving your Tide Pod eating generation too much credit?
Oh my
And now I
goodness.
got the Mom, you just embarrassed the
Look,
shit out of me.
I still don't think that's the dumbest challenge. I think the cup lip fuck shit, whatever that was.
Kylie Jenner challenge?
Yeah, is it Kylie Jenner?
But as a kid, you never put the pop bottle.
I've gotten dumb stuff stuck in my lips, but never to look like somebody.
Well, no, we did it because it was cool.
I don't know, because I was bored and left alone too long. Like, I remember one time, do you remember how those hair clips that had the stick through it was real popular? I was so bored. I used to get in trouble for chewing on shit. I got that thing stuck in between my mouth.
I got toothpick stuff. From
Yeah,
cheek to
and I
cheek.
remember looking at Amy and I was like, uh-oh. But it was I was stoned. Oh my goodness, yeah.
See, I was stoned. Never the ending to a car crash or a mass shooting.
That kid needed to be stoned. You should have gave him weed brownies a long time ago.
CBD even.
Yeah, I remember them talking about, like, I watched Oprah and Ricky Lake and shit, you know. And
Ricky Lake.
yeah, remember that? She tried to make a
What
comeback, I
happened to
think. I don't know.
She lost all that weight and disappeared.
She was the butt of all jokes. Man, they were like, people were pissed about. But anyway, on Oprah, she did a thing about these little kids, and this was back in the 90s, and when they were wearing sweaters and jean skirts. I think that shit was so ugly. I hate it. Like, I hate that clothes.
Hey, I'm guilty
Stirrup
of trying
pants.
to be. I wore stirrup pants.
I hated them. I hated them.
And once it gets stretched out, you cut the stirrups off
Yeah.
and roll them up.
The only thing I liked was the hat, the blossom hats. Throwback. We're just reminiscing there. But anyway, so she had these kids on there, and they ate a bunch. They were giving them different foods and then testing how they acted afterwards. Tomatoes really made them little kids bad. Like, bad. They were bad. Like, they were this little kid. It was like them kids that slapped their mamas in the face and shit. That's the kids they tested. Mm-hmm. Like little cherry tomatoes. That's also when they started changing the DNA structure of that bullshit. Corn, tomato, ship it longer. Strawberries was one of them.
Tomatoes are a lot bigger nowadays than what they were.
That's why I'm glad we know those numbers now, because I'm constantly looking at that shit.
I forgot all about it, actually.
Well, my family hates me. Like, we are eating, like,
Well,
the paleo diet almost.
as long as you're buying fresh fruits, like fresh, not the canned, but out of the
I like
produce
it. I'm
section,
trying to jar my
Shop
own.
and Save and our Walmart both is non-GMO.
I know.
Everything.
Because we use local. The thing is do we only know about the pesticides in that, but we don't know if that seed. We could never get down to the seed, and that's the only thing.
We could somehow.
I think we're already fucked. We're fucked, dude. The only thing you could do now is probably quit smoking.